like to go back to the question of voters for a moment. You've made clear that you are opposed to this board reaching out, contacting voters and asking them to come here and offer their recollections of what happened on election day. I'd just like to point out that there is a phone number at the Board of Elections that any provisional voter voted on election day can call, can find out whether their vote in fact was counted. And if in fact it was not counted, they can find out why it wasn't counted. And I would just like to ask, if one of those voters showed up here on their own to testify about what their recollections were on election day, I presume we'd be at least willing to hear their thoughts.
We take public comment, we try to take public comment, of course.
I just wanted to make sure that was clear on the record that that can happen. Even if we as a board at this point can't reach out to voters, they certainly can reach out to us.
So we're clear, Mr. Burke, your questionnaire that you want to send out would also go to 2,000 poll workers, am I wrong? So when you asked me the question of what would I do as a judge if we wanted to issue subpoenas to 2,000 people, I would have a similar concern in the discovery process if you wanted to send out interrogatories to 2,000 people. We've got to question 2,000 people. We have a difference as to how to get it done. My position is that we do it here in front of all of you and everyone in a public forum so that someday later someone can't say that we did something we shouldn't have in the questionnaire. You want to question 2,000 people in writing, I want to do it here in front of this board. That's the difference of opinion that exists.
Let's get them in here.
Agreed. We're going to do that Thursday at 8 a.m.
May I ask, in the meantime, who's going to break the news to the sheriff?
I'm happy to.
When are you going to do it?
I think we should do it maybe I think everything at this point ought to be done jointly. Should we agree on how that gets done?
As far as I'm concerned, pick up the telephone and call them today. Tell them we want to get subpoenas issued. And get them the addresses and get the subpoenas started.
Our staff should get blank subpoenas and begin preparing those subpoenas for the sheriff. Do it in an orderly fashion, absolutely.
And staff, when can that be done?
We have the labels prepared on all of the poll workers in the precincts that are affected by our own precinct. So I guess it's a matter of getting the forms and getting the mailing.
It's not a mailing.
The subpoena,
Subpoena can be any variety of ways. Mr. Stevenson, do you have any, I don't mean to put you on the spot, do you have any guidance as to how we ought?
You can't hear. It's so important to hear.
Subpoenas ordinarily can be served by certified mail.
We still can't hear.
He said subpoenas can be sent by ordinary mail, certified mail, or by the
I didn't
sheriff.
say ordinary mail. Certified mail or the sheriff. There's other things that would, that may be applicable under the civil rules.
Speak up, please. We can't hear you back here.
That's fine. If you would, just do a little louder so everybody can hear you, Mr. Stevens.
Ordinarily, service and process and such matters can be conducted either by certified mail or by personal service. There are other methods. I don't know which ones might apply to this situation, but there are other ways to get it done.
I mean, I think we should do it by certified mail, that way it don't have to be personal service. We can do it by certified mail, return receipt, and begin that process. The board agreement on that.
When can they be out? I think frankly, at this point, we've got to put people on overtime. We've got to get this done.
My motion, by the way, also included a provision of our notifying the Ohio Supreme Court that because of the federal.
I heard that. Go ahead. But that doesn't
That's the
stop.
third time you've interrupted me, and you've yelled at me for interrupting me.
You're right. I'll shut up.
I know you're upset, but let's just calm down and try to do the people's business. I agree with you. I think our next step should be to send out certified mail subpoenas to the 2,024 people, and also any observers that the board staff can identify for us, because there were observers in some of these multiple locations. I have proof, as I'm sure all of you do, that at least one observer was directing people to the wrong place, which would not be poll worker error. So I would want that observer clearly subpoenaed. I'm happy to provide that name. So we should bring everybody down and do this in the public.
We can't hear you.
It's in my motion. Okay, I'll move then that we issue subpoenas by certified mail to the people identified in my previous motion. Do I have a second?
Make a motion to amend the motion. I didn't state that correctly. I would move to amend, to add the requirement that board staff be immediately assembled for the purpose of accomplishing that, and that those letters go in the mail by the end of the day tomorrow.
I can't support a motion like that. Can't do certified mail on Sunday. This is a mess. There's no question. This is a mess. I don't support that motion. Does it have a second? Yes.
Mr. Chair, before a second, maybe I might ask the question slightly differently. I think what Mr. Burke is trying to get at is to set a deadline by which time this should happen. If you're not comfortable with Sunday night, are you comfortable with closing business on Monday?
Again, I hate to put board staff in the middle of this. It is a cumbersome responsibility.
It is a cumbersome responsibility, I agree. And you're right that we are in a mess. This is a very difficult set of circumstances. But I said the other day, and I continue to feel, that we have been under the court order to address this problem now for more than 14 days. And, it's time we got about the business of doing so. And I think having some deadline by which time we're asking that this task be completed is appropriate.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I think it is appropriate to begin this process as quickly as possible, and I would suspect that given the number of people that are going to be invited to come down here, we certainly aren't going to be able to accommodate all of them on Thursday of next week. So at least some number of these should be processed and sent via certified mail by close of business on Monday. I'm sure we could accomplish that. We would have some subpoenas out, and I'm sure enough to fill our entire day on Thursday, and then staff continue to complete the task in order for us to notify everybody. So I do agree that we should direct or urge staff to get out by close of business on Monday. I don't know that we need to pick a number, but get out enough so we can start questioning people on Thursday of next week.
First of all, has staff ever subpoenaed this large number of people in the room?
The only attempt to ever subpoena this large a number of people was done 2 or 3 presidential election cycles ago, when the Republican Party, attempting to block other people from voting,
come on, Tim.
Hey, Tim folks.
It ended 4 years ago.
They attempted to subpoena
10 years ago.
tens of thousands of people across the state of Ohio.
Anyway.
All right, we're not going to let this get out of hand today. First of all, Mr. Burke had made a motion that this be accomplished by the end of business on Sunday. I don't recall it ever received a second.
I'll second.
There's a second. Any discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? No. Mark that as another 2-2 tie about having staff do this by Sunday evening, which I believe to be an impossibility. I think that we ought to give staff an opportunity to digest the fact that this motion has been approved, and to try to come together to figure out one narrow question, that is, how quickly can they get out subpoenas to all the various individuals identified in my motion? And I don't know that that needs to be in the form of a motion. I would ask staff to do so diligently and without delay, to find a way to get these subpoenas issued so that we can at least begin this process on Thursday at 8 a.m., which we agreed to do.